Back in January 2020, I got a job as an overnight grocery clerk. The store was closed for the public at night, so my job was to basically stock my designated aisles and order items for the next night to stock. It wasn't bad at all. It was a pretty straightforward job, and I only had 2 coworkers. My coworkers were Kim, a nice older lady who had been doing this job for more than 20 years, and Tim, my lead that was just a few years older than I was. The store was pretty big. It had a huge kitchen area for the bakery and deli, a pretty big meat department for the butchers to work in, a cheese counter, and many refrigerators throughout for all the different departments. A few weeks went by. It was February now, and my coworkers trusted me enough now after training me and showing me the ropes that I was allowed to do pretty much whatever I wanted, as long as the job got done. We pretty much just caught up and talked in the beginning of our shift, which was 11 p.m., and once we dismantled the load for the night, we'd go our separate ways and didn't really see each other until it was lunchtime at 3 a.m., and then again around 5 a.m. for our last break, to clean up the aisles, and getting the store nice and tidy for opening time at 6 a.m. Throughout the night, we had to unlock the front doors for a cleaning crew of 2 women, and unlock the doors to receive a few deliveries of bakery items and the newspaper. Other than that, the doors were always locked. One night it was just Kim and I working, and we were having a good shift so far. We got some deliveries early, our main delivery as well, so we were breaking down the pallet by the meat department and using dollies to transport the boxes to the corresponding aisles. I was wheeling some boxes in the cereal aisle when I heard some pots and pans in the deli. I turned around to look towards the kitchen, and no one was there. I went back to the aisle where Kim was leaving some boxes, and I asked her if she had heard anything. She said, "Yeah, I heard you over in the kitchen, right?" I shook my head no and said, "Yeah, you heard the pots and pans in the deli, but I was in aisle 4 leaving some boxes. I thought it was you, until I found you here." Kim's eyes widened and grabbed my arm and said, "Okay, we're alone until 1 a.m. when the cleaning crew comes. We haven't heard them knock yet, so let's go check the doors, and then we'll do a walk-through." We walked slowly towards the front doors, looking into each aisle as we walked by it, and looking into the deli as we walked by it too. We finally got to the front doors, and they were locked. We double and triple checked, and those doors were locked tight. As soon as we got done checking the doors, we heard the pots again. We were next to the deli, so we both walked over to it quickly. We walked into the deli, through the kitchens, and even checked the refrigerators. There was no one there. Kim and I started walking back to the pallet to keep unloading it, and as we walked back we heard a meat slicer go off. Our pallet was next to the meat department, so we knew there wasn't anyone there. I could hear the meat slicer being used, as if a butcher was cutting some fresh steaks for a customer. When we got to the end of the aisle to face the meat department, the slicer went silent. We walked behind the meat case, and all the machines were not only off, but unplugged and disassembled. We both looked at each other in disbelief and went to take an early break just to shake it off. The break room and employee lounge was upstairs, and it had big windows where we could see the whole store beneath us, the front doors, and the whole deli area. The rest of the night was uneventful, and everything went smoothly. A few days went by, and all 3 of us were working. We were already separated into our different aisles. I was closest to the front doors, being in the freezer section, so I had the responsibility of opening the front doors for any deliveries or the cleaning crew. Hours went by, and I was now in the first aisle, which was a huge drink case. I heard some knocking on the front door. It was a weird sounding knock, like if someone was knocking with something small and sharp like a key or just their fingernails. I walked to the end of the aisle to peek, and I didn't see anyone outside. I went back to the drinks I was stocking, and I heard the store's intercom turn on, followed by silence for a few seconds, then it hung up. I didn't move for a few seconds, expecting the intercom to turn on again, but it didn't. I decided to go find my coworkers to see what was going on, just in case they were looking for me or something. As I walked towards the back of the store, I walked past Kim working in one aisle and Tim on the next. I called out to both of them, and Kim asked if I was okay. I told her I was fine, but that I'd heard knocking and the intercom. She said she'd heard the knocking, but thought I'd signed off on the delivery with no issues, so she didn't even peek. Then she said she didn't hear the intercom at all. I told her there was no delivery, and then she said, "Well then, who was it that walked by a few minutes ago, towards the back of the store?" Kim looked worried, and we both went to Tim's aisle where he was still stocking things. He had his earbuds on, so he didn't even know we were beside him. He jumped up when he realized we were right there, and asked us if everything was okay. We told him what we'd heard, and what Kim had seen, and then he said he hadn't left his aisle the whole time, so it wasn't him walking around. He and Kim went off to look around the store, and to check the doors. I went to use the restroom. Meanwhile, they were off walking through the store, when I heard the restroom door open. I immediately assumed it was Kim. I heard a stall door open, followed by the sound of the bolt locking up the door. I came out to the sink and washed my hands. I noticed through the mirror that every single one of the stall doors was open. I turned around, and every single stall was wide open. I was sure of what I'd heard, and no way anyone had left already, especially without making any noise. I left the restroom and walked towards my aisle when I noticed Kim and Tim were in the aisle before mine. I walked up to them, and Kim said the back door was unlocked. They had locked it and looked through the surveillance tape, but saw nothing on the recording. I told them I had heard the bathroom door open and that I thought it was Kim. She said she hadn't gone to the bathroom, and Tim went to look inside both restrooms. Minutes later, he came back, saying no one was in either restroom. We were all pretty shaken up, but decided to keep working. Morning came, and time to clock out rolled along, and we were just happy to get off and go home. Weeks went by, nothing too weird happened, just a few more incidents, hearing the deli pots and pans in the kitchen, more knocking at the front doors, and the newest addition, the drink case doors opening and slamming shut. I'd hear these noises from miles away, and once I'd get up to checking on them, nothing was causing such disturbances. Kim and I were alone once again in the store. Tim was on vacation, so it was going to be just Kim and I for about a week and a half. Before anything else got done, we made sure the doors were locked up and shut. We did a walkthrough of the whole store together, and we both went to check all the restrooms.